Welcome, welcome. I am RozyGlow Hannes with a second installment of Star Piece Wednesdays today with the lovely Ali Levine and Ali and Abel, two of her beautiful children who are here to be a part of this beautiful show. Now, for those of you who don't know me, I am a Starseed activator, multidimensional success coach and channel of divine grace. And Ali has come from being a celebrity stylist and has moved into breath work, had huge awakenings of her own as the Starseed herself and a mother of Starseeds. So if you're watching this on the Facebook group, the Starseed group, then please do head over to RozyGlow on YouTube and subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, please head over to our beautiful community on Facebook, where we are growing this Star Piece, Starseed consciousness. And Ali's here with us today to, well, share with us a bit about her, because we're going to be doing a workshop together on Friday. And that workshop is entitled Make a Wish and Make It Real. So we're both really so into supporting people to manifest the lives that they want, to co-create the reality that they desire for themselves and for humanity. And basically, well, we're a collaboration, I believe, that's been brought together by the Star Piece collective frequency. So Ali, how are you today? Do you want to say a little hello about you?
Yeah, hi love. Thank you so much for having me. Hi everyone. So nice to meet everyone. Yes, as you can see, like you said, my little star seeds around me. Abel's nursing, my newest star seed, my male star seed, and Arlie over here is watching her little show, Peppa Pig. She's 2.5, and she is definitely a true star seed. I always joke with my husband and my friends, like wherever she truly is, I would love to be there, because she is just always like in her own, like, oh, I'm in a higher dimension, just enjoying the higher frequency. Like she's just always so in it and peaceful and happy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I know that's of me, but I'm still getting back to that.
Well, you have 3 children, right? So I think this is
my oldest, my 4-year-old is at her class. So I have my 2 out of 3 right now. But yes, I have three kids, and Abel is my newest, who you, Miss Rosie, as you know, helped me with a bunch of stuff I was going through during my pregnancy. And we did a lot of star seed dueling, if you will. You were doing the doula thing, but on a very conscious star seed level, and talking to Abel and giving light language, and while I was doing my breath work and helping me through epidural labor and so many things, which, you know, just to speak to what you're saying with manifesting and making it real, you know, like my home birth, right? That was so something I wanted so much. And I truly believe between the support, the empowerment, my own education, you know, working with you, everything I did allowed me to have, you know, that home birth, especially after, for those that don't know me, I had a C-section with my first daughter, a pretty traumatic birth after 42 hours, a VBAC with Arlie in the hospital, which gave me that empowerment to know my body could do it. I could do it. I was meant to birth. And then a home birth, you know, with Abel back on September 11th of this year in 2022. So I truly, that, you know, that make a wish and make it real. It's not just a saying, you know, it's society wants to make us think, make a wish, you know, and think like, oh, make a wish and it'll maybe happen. It's like, no, how do you use the higher frequency? How do you use your gifts? How do you use everything you can tap into to actually create it and manifest it? And that's why I'm so excited to do this workshop with you, because I've been learning, like you said, as I've been going through my own awakening over the last few years, especially 2020, I think for most of us, woke a lot of us up. And mine started probably back in 2017, but I think it got, you know, much more intense and advanced when 2020 hit, and it was kind of like there was no more pretending. It was like, hey, here you are. I can no longer like suppress the things I was feeling about myself. I think I always knew as like even a young kid, but I would just kind of push to the side because society tells us to, you know. And so I think as I, you know, awakened, I realized like, wow, this really is a real thing, this consciousness, this higher frequency to tap into, you know. For me, after I expressed, you know, my traumatic birth with my first daughter. Are you playing with your Legos? All right, can we tap a little less? Thank you. My first birth, that traumatic birth, and, you know, led me to postpartum depression, long story short. And so basically, after going through such a dark night of the soul and just so much darkness, I really felt like I lost myself. And I
She doesn't want to hear it. Can you hear that? She does not want to hear this. So let's pause that bit, because I actually want to just bring us back to two things you've actually said. There's a few questions I have, but one of them I forgot. I mean, when we talk about doing like Starseed cosmic doulaing, I'm in England and you are in Tennessee, right? So I did not have any physical contact with you, but what happened was, as you were going beyond the dates that the hospital was talking about, or the midwife was talking about, there was a pressure on you to kind of bring this baby earthside. And we know from the podcast I did with you over on your show, Awakening with Ali, that Abel responded very strongly to the light language that came through. And I shared a little bit more light language with you, and then did some really practical physical stuff, showed you how to help him move down into position to get that labor going. And this is what we mean, coming back to making a wish real, is what are the practical physical things that actually we are required to implement once we receive some kind of inspired guidance, or this, you know, when you have an idea and you're like, oh, that lights me up so much. That when something lights you up, like boom, you know that is a soul desire, and it's very different to a duty desire, right? Yes. What I hadn't clocked was he was born on the 11th of September, which that's 9/11, right?
Yes, it is.
So for you, in the US, you flip it around. We have, you know, the 11th is the day of the month, and then the month is September. But so he's come through to help clear all of that story and that trauma that's around that. I'm getting goosebumps.
I just got God bumps. I was going to say, you know, it was crazy. I remember when I went into labor that morning, because I've been having prodromal labor for, as you know, for a few weeks. I didn't believe it. So when it happened, I was like, oh, there's no way he's being born on 9/11. Like, there's no way, you know, it's like, there's no way. This is just prodromal labor again. And I went back to bed and like put my heating pad all the way up, and like, you know, it was just like, oh, it's fine. I'll just sleep through it. And then no, it got more intense. And I was like, oh, I can't sleep through this. You know, it was like, this is not happening, you know? And so are you trying to show off, dude? Okay. All right. Well, then get me the controller. That controller doesn't work for Coco Melon, baby. And basically, you know, after you say hi, can you say hi? Hi. Afterwards, you know, when I actually went into labor and realized it was actually happening, it was like, it was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. Like, and then when I realized it was 9/11, I thought the same thing. Like, I was like, wow, this is so powerful that he is being born. And I didn't even know it was a boy, you know, for everyone that, you know, I allowed myself to surrender to that and not find out the, you know, gender of my son when I had found out with my girls. And so it was just, yeah, I agree with you. It was so not only divine, but I do believe like he came in for so much, as he's half asleep now.
How many weeks is he now?
So he'll be 2 months in 2 days, which is so crazy to think, like so crazy.
Like the fact that I know you did a breath workshop literally like 3 or 4 weeks after, wasn't it? It was like crazy. Like your commitment.
I had the download, like I needed to do it, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it, like, you know. And I think, like, speaking to what you're saying, like when your heart, you know, when your soul, when everything aligns and you get that desire, it's like everything can tell you not to do it, or there can be things that can get in the way. I mean, even us this morning, right? We were supposed to go live this morning. We messed up our time zones, like big time. I mean, I should have checked. And, you know, we're like, oh, you're like, hey, I'm getting on. I'm like, what? I'm just waking up nursing. What's happening? You know, it's like, you know, and it's coming on, honey. And I'm like, thinking to myself, you know, we could have easily just been like, oh, you know what, scratch it. Like, you know, we'll do it, you know, tomorrow, or, oh, it just didn't work out, or whatever it may be. But it's like, no, going with trusting that you really have a desire for a reason, as you said, it's on your heart for a reason. It's part of your soul frequency, you know, and you're like, no, I'm going to show up and do it anyways. And I think that's so important, you know, as a physical thing, right? Like nowadays, especially with everything going on, there's so much distraction in the matrix. There's so much happening. It was like, you know, chaos. But within us, there's inner peace if we can really tap into it and allow it. And so many more, especially, of course, Starseeds are receiving this, are feeling this, and are feeling activated in this time. And it's like, okay, so what can I do in the physical to further move that along, you know, and like meditation for me and breath work and tapping and all these different things that, you know, I tap into, you know, like help me, you know, to be able to breathe through any chaos that may try to come in and say, oh, you can't do that. It's like, no, 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 yes, you can. And it's going to be even bigger than you thought it was going to be. It's going to be even better. It's going to be even more magical. And that's why we're so excited about 11/11, which, by the way, I also didn't even think about. Like, that's my son's that's his 2-month birthday. And it didn't even click until you just said, wait, how old is he? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like 11/11 is already powerful, right? But then it's like now he's included in some way. That's so cool and so powerful, obviously, and divine in its own way.
It's beautiful. And I think this is, you know, you're speaking to something that I just want to reiterate, which is when we have an inspired idea that is soul-led because it lights you up, and you know that because of how it lights you up, doesn't mean it's all going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? It doesn't mean that suddenly the path's just going to open up. First of all, the resistances are going to come up. Now,
Yes.
for us, we've both spoken very publicly about things in the last couple of years in public spaces like this one, which has meant that our visibility has shifted somewhat. And, you know, I want to say this because it speaks to this idea that there's something that's more powerful than us. Let's just call it a machine. Maybe call it algorithms, maybe call it someone pressing a button. Who cares? You know, it's very easy to go, oh, something's against us. But what I'm inviting us all to remember is that whatever we see out in the collective that might be against us is a projection of our own shadow. So even this morning, you know, here we are doing what we can to like show up, do some promo, let everyone know what we're going to be doing on Friday. We're excited about it. It's running no matter what, right? But we've had one little glitch after another. Instagram, we did a live, just disappeared after, right? Then, you know, today, like I thought I'd got the timings right. And oh no, I'm an hour out. Clock's changed. Who knows? Who cares what it is? That's my internal resistance, because I know me and this sister, we're powerful together, right? We're really powerful together. Our own medicine individually is strong. Together, it's even stronger, right? So this is the whole thing about not giving up when things get tough. It also doesn't mean bashing your head against a wall the whole time. Like take a step back, look at the alignment required. Maybe there's a way around that wall. Or maybe you just need to pull a brick out and the whole wall's going to come down, right? There's over efforting, and then there's the required effort to meet the shadow elements, which is what I call resistance, as it shows up. And I just want to say a hello to Yolanda and to Tracy and to Nikki, who are currently on, and they are, in this space with us. So welcome.
So nice. Thank you. I love what you just said, Rosie, because I agree with you so much. And I think part of being a starseed and also this time, you know, in our consciousness and everything, and frequency is really leaning into the flow, right? It's really leaning into the trust, the surrender, and really like embodying that, not just saying, oh, I'm going to trust, oh, you know, I'm going to trust that this is going to happen, or I'm going to surrender this, but actually embodying it and allowing it. And obviously I went through that massively with my home birth, you know, like when you were helping me and doing all the doula work with me, you know, virtually and everything. And I was like, well, you know, this is what's happening, and drama will happen again. And you know, between working with you and tapping into my own divine self and being like, okay, but what does surrender at a deeper level look like? What do I, you know, how can I surrender more? How can I trust more instead of fighting it? So like, to your point, you know, like I would do the exercises and then I would relax and lay down. And I would watch, you know, a silly rom-com or meditate or whatever it was that I needed in that moment, instead of just going, exercise after exercise, trying, forcing, right? It's the same idea with all our desires. It's like you said, allow it to be birthed through you, allow it to be created, allow the flow. And then as soon as you find resistance, taking a step back for a moment and seeing that resistance for what it is, instead of continuing to push against it, because what we resist persists, right? And so it's like the more you push, it's going to continue to show up, So how can I pull back and see, okay, what's going on here? What's really happening? Like you said, what's the shadow? You know, what's underlying here? What's being illuminated for me now? And how can I move forward to be able to now go back into further alignment and allow the further surrender, because it's teaching me something, whether I want to see it or not. And as starseeds, you know, in my opinion, we're really being asked in this time, especially with the collective, to help usher that in, to help show that so that they can step further into that and be able to say, there is a better way. It doesn't have to be this constant grind and burnout and, you know, the vicious cycle continues. It can be flow, it can be divine, it can be creation, especially as women, you know, especially in this time, this sacred feminine. We're meant to birth, right? We're meant, you know, we're built to do these things. So we're also meant to birth ideas and create them in flow, in divine grace, not in hustle, not in adrenaline that we spoke to on my podcast with you on Awakening with Ali, with you speaking to the adrenaline, to the oxytocin. Like, we're meant to be in the oxytocin flow. We're meant to be in it. And we're also meant to rest and allow for things to further come through, because what we might be dreaming up and then getting stuck on and then trying to push through, we might get it through, but it may not have been as grand as it was going to be. So being able to take a step back and allow that ego to go to the side and whatever else you want to call that, you know, we all have dark and light within us, right? And so to be able to alchemize our light, to bring more forward, taking a step back and saying, okay, what's going on in this moment right now? Can I let go to let more come in, even if this isn't my exact divine plan? You know, I think one of the things I've learned in breathwork so much is really being agendaless. When I give people a guided session and they ask me to guide them and, you know, what do I think? And I'll share my opinion, of course, but I'm like, look, you know, because your body is the channel, your body is the messenger. Allow, and whatever comes through is absolutely divine and meant to. And I'll be here to guide you, but I have no agenda here other than to help you curate your intention, create the space, and be a sacred, safe container. And the more we can allow ourselves to be agendaless, the more things are going to keep tapping into that higher frequency, that higher consciousness. And I think that's what we're so excited about with 1111, with Make a Wish and Make It Real. It's like, let's be agendaless. Let's just come truly into our heart center. We're going to give you tools. We're going to share with you our gifts. We're going to bring you into that space so you can birth and create over and over and over again.
Exactly. And you've just spoken to the feminine principle of co-creation or manifesting, actually, because whether we call it shadow light, ego, higher self, a different perspective I like to share is that over-efforting, forcing through willpower is basically survival programming. That's the using adrenaline rather than oxytocin to be the main fuel of our creations. And we've all been taught to just, if you just hang on and you just keep your focus and you just work hard at it, it's going to manifest, right? And it's like, yeah, maybe it will, but at what cost? You said it beautifully. I'm not going over it again. However, when you allow this feminine principle of, what does it feel like to have already received this that I want to create, right? That I'm excited about. And in accessing the feeling vibration, you are then given the information from your own consciousness about what needs to happen next. And if you look at a bell curve of labor, right, as in birth, the birth process from pre-labor through to the baby being in your arms, the main, you need, you know, the you need, first of all, prostaglandin, which again, oxytocin is what will help to create that prostaglandin, which comes through the semen. You need the endorphins, that are the painkillers that are, I think, 30 times more powerful than morphine, like insane, right? And then you need oxytocin to keep fueling the process that allows you to ride the waves and transmute pain into pleasure, because again, it's very much in the mind as to how you perceive it and whether there's fear in your body that blocks it. Equally, there are key points at which you need a little injection of oxytocin, of adrenaline. And by injection, I mean a surge, not something artificial, which is when you get that first moment that's like, okay, I need to change positions. I need to move to call the middle, whatever your thing is to get you ready for the next stage. The same happens just before you feel the urge to bear down. The same happens just before you deliver the placenta yourself. It comes out of your body. So it's not, we're always moving beyond either or. We're moving into and this and more, and saying, what is the harmony of the frequencies that I am required to have in order to co-create with grace and ease? And that doesn't mean you're just going to loll around and eat grapes and it's all just going to happen, right? There's definitely lolling required. There's definitely a time to just disassociate even and let go of, surrender that desire, just open to highest good. And this is what, when we say agendaless, what we mean is we're not forcing anything. We're allowing our true longings to come to the surface, and we're playing with what we want, why we want it, and what would be even better than that, and just opening that up. I'm a stickler for working with the highest good of all and the win-win-win, and I know that Ali is too, because we know not to force outcomes. You know, there's a word in Greek which is epimeno, which means I insist, right? I'm going to insist that things are a certain way. And as women, we do it. That's part of our shadow. And as men, we do it. As parents, we do it, right? So what we're offering you when we connect on Friday is, one, a deprogramming from all of that, right, which will come through the breath work and the light language, a whole how to access the infinite field of possibilities, and then how to work with that so that you are aligning with the very best, and then allowing what you desire to come to you, and how you actually move through resistance or shadow as it shows up. But can I bring this, Ali, just over to, I feel like Ali's asking us just to be sensitive about talking about births presently in her presence, but what I feel is really important just to share is, obviously you've had from really sort of challenging first birth to the birth that you really wanted to have with Abel. And this is a healing journey for you. And many women will be really inspired by that, because I've only had one birth, and that was a 4-day labor. But where my healing came from was in being a physical doula, like being a teacher of
using your medicine
methods, right? And then seeing how a woman who'd had a challenging first birth or second birth could have the birth she wanted at home, because that's where I would attend basically as a doula. But let's move to, because we can talk more about that another time for sure. This whole thing of like, what's the difference between your starseed children and your eldest, who you don't necessarily identify as a starseed right now? What would you say, kind of, is there different parenting required? What do you see?
Yeah, I think so. I think that my daughter Amelia is an empath for sure. She feels everything. She receives everything. She's very tapped in. She's very intuitive in many ways. It's just a different consciousness. She's more ready to lead. She's more independent. She wants to absorb as much as she can and take it in, and then go and use it right away to see kind of how it works and test it. I kind of feel like she's between the worlds of like the matrix and like the higher frequency, if you will. She was born in 2018, so that makes sense to me, because kind of on the cusp, right? And I would say for me, it's really allowing her to be assertive, allowing her to use her voice in a safe way. You know, even when she gets upset and stressed, you know, I've been teaching her to say, I'm frustrated, you know, I'm mad, you know, I'm not happy with, you know, that, you know, what you know, just did, or, you know, whatever it may be. And then I tell her, well, let's talk about it. Let's discuss, you know, like, you know, and she will, and she's open to having communication, you know, she's open to discussing, you know, whatever, you know, that, you know, it needs to be discussed. She also loves to be empowered, and really, I recognize like we're in potty training mode right now, and she loves to be praised, but I'm really trying to do it from a very conscious level, not just like good girl, right? Because we've been taught to say, you know, you're a good girl because blah, 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 you know, and so I always tell her, I'm like, look, it's great you did this, but you're wonderful and a good and amazing being because of who you are and who, you know, you were created as. But this is wonderful. This is a great thing. This is, you know, wonderful for your body. It's great for you. It's great for you to move forward in what you're doing. You know, I'm just being conscious of that, right? And correcting myself when I'm human, and, you know, that I say things that, you know, aren't as conscious, you know, and I even do it with my husband. I drive him crazy. You know, he'll say something and I'm like, that's not very conscious. And he's like, you know, and I'm like, could we refrain? Could we rephrase the language? Could we just, you know, and then there's Arlie, you know, who's very sensitive. Like right now she's watching as people are painting all these colors together, and she's just like in awe of watching them paint. You know, she's very creative. She loves music. She loves art. She loves color. She's very sensitive. She also loves to use her vocals. So when she gets very frustrated, she screams. Or she gets excited, she screams in a very like sweet way, but she doesn't understand sometimes it can be triggering. My husband doesn't appreciate when she screams really loud. And yesterday he got frustrated with her, and he was like, "You're really hurting my ears," you know. And I was like, babe, one, she's not going to understand that at all. She's not going to take any of that. It's not going to make a difference. And she's going to hear you yelling, taking it up an octave, and it's not going to do anything. Probably actually going to make it worse. So when you come, can you sit with her and have a conversation about how much it's actually physically hurting your ears? And obviously she loves her daddy, so she's not going to want to hurt you. And so he sat with her and he said, you don't really want to hurt daddy's ears, do you? Once he could finally get his wits about him. I think it's another part of being conscious, right? It's like, as leaders of Starseeds, like being able to see those situations. And as much as you want to jump in and be like, you have to like, okay, I have to let you process, right? Like this is the collective right now, letting them process everything that's happening. It's hard. We want to shake all of them awake and be like, hello, do you see what's happening on a higher level? But it's like, no, we can't, right? We all kind of, I think, tried to do that when we first woke up, and it, you might've woken some people up and yay, but other than that, it's like, you got to go on your own journey. You got to keep awakening and evolving and using your medicine where people receive it and where they need it, because when someone's willing to hear it, they will. When they're willing to receive it, they will. Myself included. Like, I'm a perfect example of that. People told me for years things in Hollywood and all kinds of stuff. That's a whole nother episode, but all kinds of stuff that it woke me up to, darkness and all kinds of things. And I was like, no, and just kept doing my thing with my job until I couldn't, until all of a sudden, like, I just kept getting these nudges, and it was like, maybe there are some things going on, and that awakened me. And then more happened, and 2020 happened and just continued, and it spiraled. And I was pregnant with Arlie, and I feel like she was a huge part of my awakening, and all of these things. And so, my reason for saying that is, it's like, we'll receive when we're ready to receive. And so, being a conscious parent and being really aware of that, even in my own space, having my husband, not be as awakened can be hard, but it has to also realize he's in his own process. He's in his own journey. We all are. And allowing that, right? And allowing that process. And so when you say, with parenting, it's like, yeah, it's very different. It's very much like allowing her to be sensitive, allowing her to express herself, but being able to have those conversations and say, okay, it's hard right now, but how can we move past this? And then my other one, it's like, she likes to be more empowered. She likes to know everything. Amelia wants you to tell her everything about everything. We'll go sit and have conversations about, God and heaven and all these things. And I'm like, well, I don't know the full answers. I'll tell you what I think I know, and, what I receive, and, and what I believe is all around us. And, our lights will flicker in the house, or, she'll see orbs and things, and she'll ask me, I'll say, well, to me, it's God, it's source, it's divine, it's all the same energy, and so then she'll say things and be like, oh, and what do you think that means? And sometimes I don't even know the answers, but I think it's just allowing that, right? Allowing to not know, allowing us to be in that, kind of go back to our inner child and say, like, what would I have wanted to hear and receive? What would have been healing for me, would have allowed me to further step into myself. I think that's really helped me with my kids, and I continue to learn. They continue to teach me. I feel like with every child, I learn more, I heal more. I learn about things I didn't express as a kid that I needed to express, and so it's still, I'm learning, I have a 4, 2.5, and a almost 2-month-old, so I'm very much new into this journey, of like, how do you go about this? But I think the best way is, of course, just letting them be them. And they're teaching me how to be even more my authentic self. I think that was another part of my awakening, Rosie, was like showing up for them. I couldn't show up inauthentic anymore. And not that I was ever inauthentic, but in the sense of, I would just do whatever for Hollywood. I would do whatever for, project, it was whatever, because that was my job, right? Like you said, it was like the burnout, the hustle, the grind, just do it because they say so. This is what it's going to be. Keep climbing, keep showing. And it was like exhausting. And I just was like, this is not working. But I was, I guess, okay with it until I became awakened, until I had my children. And then it was like, oh, this is not working. This is a better way, and that was when meditation, I believe, for me, saved my life, my postpartum depression, just to go back to that for a minute, because I realized, like, wow, I can tap into this divine self. I can allow the slow. I can, and I was receiving more, and I was getting more downloads, and I was figuring out, what to align with and what to not. And that helped me walk away from my, celebrities I was styling, and the toxicity of clients and all that. And I wasn't able to do that before. I just didn't feel that I had the empowerment to do so. Even though I knew the answers within me, I just didn't have it. And so the reason I bring that up is because I think even for Starseeds right now, there is a lot of kind of like, can I do this? Can I step into this? Can I be in this higher consciousness? Can I be in the higher frequency? The answer is Yes. But are you willing to show up? Are you willing to continue to push forward? And like you said, with all the resistance, all the things that come up, are you willing to allow? Are you willing to step back and receive and just continue the journey to allow more to unfold for you, to actually be brought into your soul-led purpose versus getting caught up in the why isn't it working? And, you know, I'll just go back to the grind and whatever it may be, because that's easier, right? But it's really not. It's just what we've been programmed to believe is easier. It's comfortable.
Well, yeah, from what you're saying, let's definitely go there in a minute. I feel like you've got 3 Starseeds. I don't think you've got 2.
Really?
I feel like your eldest called Amelia, is that right?
Amelia,
yeah, she's dialed into a different constellation. That's all. Yeah, getting strong. Yes. Sirius is coming through for her. Okay.
Oh, okay.
These 2 are more Andromedan potentially, but let's just see that. Yes, Sirius is definitely coming through for Amelia. So let's just see what that transpires as. But yeah, it's just a different frequency. And, you know, for anyone who's watching this going, am I a starseed? Look, we're all starseeds. That's the bottom line. On a microscopic level, we're all stardust. So we are all starseeds, but not all of us are activated starseeds. So when we talk about the process of awakening, we're talking about being activated. For our generation, so mine and Ali's, I don't know how old you are, Ali, I'm 44. I know if you what, sorry?
38.
38, yeah. So cool, because I was talking to a colleague of mine today, she's 38 too, and we resonate with the Facebook era because it kind of all sort of started, and you know, that's where we start with it. But our generation of starseeds came in typically to traumatic early lives. Yeah, we had some form of lack, abuse, toxic parenting, limitations, right? Our generation came in as volunteers to support the ascension of humanity, and we came into bloodlines that we have already mastered the lessons that those bloodlines are learning. We've already done it in previous incarnations, but we decided our best support would be to come into bloodlines where those who haven't yet been through the process we have would get a chance to clear as much of their karma drama as possible through us landing like cuckoos in the nest, right? And bringing our frequencies. Now, part of the challenge of a starseed, because we all forget in our generation that we're starseeds as we come, we get activated at the point of conception. That awakening time alarm, if you like, is there. It's implanted that we will awaken in this lifetime, and through the challenges we have, we will seek solution which will remind us of our mastery. We will heal that which was unhealed within us, or harmonize that which was out of harmony, and then we'll be able to teach this to others. Now, the challenge for starseeds of our generation is we are so loyal, all beings are, to the conditioning we inherit, that we can end up basically becoming loyal to the false narrative of our families and the collective, rather than at the truth that we came here to seed. So we give ourselves loads of milestones, if you like, every opportunity to activate that memory through people, through events, through all sorts of things, just to give us the chance. It doesn't always happen. Now, the difference between our generation starseeds and the children coming through, Ali, my daughter's a starseed too, but she doesn't. She's 22, but she's awakened. Is that if they're just being born now, they don't have to go through all of that trauma, right? We are awakened enough ourselves that we can do exactly what Ali's saying, which is hold the energy of not putting that conditioning in the first place because we're not aware. Right. And so helping them in their remembrance from being in the womb. Right. And that's what's so exciting. And that's why, you know, I feel the concept of a starseed is incredibly unifying. But I accept that in earthly terms, some will feel it's divisive because it's like, am I in the club or am I not? And it's like, you're totally in the club if you want to be.
Yes, exactly.
You're asking that question,
choice, right? You really, like you said, like you're awakened, you're activated when, you know, you're meant to be. And at the same time, there's many people I feel too who are afraid to, you know, step into this because it is, you know, a little more, you know, quote unquote unknown, you know, unconventional. I mean, look, I came from the celebrity styling space. I get it. I came from Hollywood, you know, all this publicity, all this stuff. And people were like, what's wrong with you? What happened to you? What's going on? You know, and I had to let all that go. I had to just let it all go and say, that old version of Allie is dead and gone. It went with my whole dark night of the soul and everything I went through. And this new version of Allie 2.0 is just beginning. It's all helping, it's all healing, it's all moving forward. And it's a whole new world for me. But I'm at such a more inner peace. I was having this conversation with my husband the other day. I was telling him, I was like, I don't know how I got here, but I'm so grateful I'm here. I would have never thought I'd be this meditating, breathing, breath work, or, like all these things. When I look at myself and I look at how I used to operate in a very much adrenaline space all the time, always, just go, 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 hustle, 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 grind, 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 stress, highest stress, all of these things, just operating on that program. I had no idea that this version of me existed. And it's such a healthier version, happier version. And also it's creating so much more for me on every level. And that's why I think we're so excited for our event together and everything else we're creating, because it's like, you can access this. If you want to exit the matrix, if you want to step into your divine light, your divine gifts, and allow yourself to be there, you can, you truly can. But do you have the courage to, do you have the just that intuition, that fire that we spoke to inspire your own fire to move forward? Do you have that within you? And yes, the answer is you do, but will you allow it? Will you allow it to come through? Will you allow it to happen? And that's why Make a Wish and Make It Real for 11/11, our event, is so powerful, because we are going to help you take that and show you, yes, you can, yes, you do, and you absolutely will if you allow it. And so if this resonates for you, if you feel this, if you're looking for more support, if you're already in this and you're just wanting to connect with further Starseeds and have more community, it's all here for you. And we were going to bring it, as Rosie said, into the physical. It's not going to just be, manifesting and then waiting for something to happen. No, no, no. We're going to show you how you take your physical tools, how you start with the breath, because the body is the channel, the body is the messenger. And so when you were speaking before, Rosie, to just, all about the adrenaline and how we respond, it's a trauma response, right? It's like the body recognizes that's trauma, that you're responding in that fight or flight for that reason. There's a reason the adrenaline kicks. And so when we can do conscious breathing and anchor in and do breath work, we can start to allow the rest and digest. We can start to allow more oxygen come online, to allow the body to shift, to go to the higher dimensions, a higher consciousness in a much quicker time, and open the space for a body to receive and be the messenger for you and give you the answers that you already have, but actually receive them and tap into them and use them to shift forward. And then using your beautiful light language to bring you even further into what you need to receive, in what maybe you don't know is already there, and just opening it up to be a truly beautiful sacred container and safe space for you to be truly authentically yourself, to step into what you already know is yours, but you just need to have reaffirmed of like, I can take this wish and I can make it real.
Yeah, baby. Well, we're going to put the link, because we now finally have a payment link. So we are going to put that in with this video once we finish recording it. And please do sign up, even if you can't make it live. It's going to be at 11:11. Tell me the time.
Central time. Yes, 11:11 Central time. Yes.
AM. For us in the UK, that's 5 p.m. No, 5:11 p.m. Wow, there you go. We're 6 hours between us,
Wow.
right? So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
I've been saying it's 4:11, but it's going to be at 5:11. So
11,
all right.
It's 11:50 a.m. right now, Central time.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So at 5:11 p.m. on Friday, 11/11 in the UK, we will be going live. And if you can't actually make it live, still sign up, because the whole point of this is going to be an hour of us supporting your making your wishes real through a physical alignment practice I'll teach, leading to the breath work that Ali's going to guide you through. And then the light language will come through, and we're both going to ground it for you, support you to be able to work with what shows up as guidance. And we'll open up to Q&A. So it'll be an hour of that work together. And then we will be working with Q&A afterwards for those of you who have questions, just to support you. The point of it is it's going to be offering you a formula for being able to access, as I said, the infinite field of possibilities, calling in your higher self. These are some of the tools I actually teach in my training program, Fearless, Loved Up and Free to Be Me. And I have a 6-step process that is about teaching people how to create a new world from an old world, right? How to navigate uncharted territory, and basically how to pioneer the new earth, because that's what we're doing. So all of you who are creatives, all of you who are empaths, all of you who do or don't resonate as starseeds, you know you want to help this world be a better place. We have to move out of this savior complex. It's really important. And remember, the key gift to give this world's ascension is our own joy, right? Now, your joy cannot come from hurting others, trust me. It can only come from being tapped into this beautiful, amazing divine matrix that we'll be working with. And so what we will gift you will be something you can come back to again and again and again, anytime that you want to be able to co-create something new. We're charging $55 for it US. And as I said, it's going to be something to keep and to keep coming back to, because you will memorize it, you'll get into it, and it'll be really easy. And it's this beautiful synergy of us. Hey, gorgeous boy.
Hear him all of a sudden, he's like, hey.
Hey. And before we bring this to a close, I'd love to ask you this question, Annie.
Sure.
In your opinion, of having worked with, you know, styling celebrities and the Hollywood whole scene, what percentage would you say of that scene is starseed or awakening? Like roughly, just give me a rough idea of what you feel is true.
It's low. I would say like 10-15%.
Yeah. I was thinking 5-10, so 10-15 is an improvement on that.
I think over. Yes, honey. I may turn it back up. What? See, and this is where, as a parent, to be real, like, and her being a starseed, sometimes I'm like, what is she saying? And is she giving me something from her own world? Or are you saying ring pop? Yeah. Oh, I have to buy you a ring pop. Okay. We're obsessed with ring pops. Okay, that I actually figured out. But sometimes she'll say things to me and I'm thinking, is this light language? Is this it? What am I? Is this just, or is this just like her just like chatting? Like, what is this? But no, going back to your question. I think you could be right. It's somewhere in that like 5-15%. I do believe in the last few years, just from some I've still talked to, they are awakening because there is so much going on in the matrix, and so much is showing them, like, even things that they were told was this is not. And so I think that's starting to spark some things that'll be interesting to see in the future. I also believe that Hollywood will collapse in its own way, and we will see more light, more consciousness there, more creation of conscious movies, conscious shows. I do believe that is where we are headed in the future. And I hope to be more in that space then, which is why, you know, I also have my whole conscious styling business I'm bringing online as well. We're going to be doing that in future workshops, helping people really bring consciousness to their clothing and all that. So yeah, guys, if you're watching this, whether live or on the replay, like, if this resonates for you, if you feel like, wow, something they said really sparked something in me, listen to that. You know, I have to tell you, especially for me going through so much of my own awakening and feeling so like on my own and alone, it can be a very hard feeling. It can be very isolating. It can be very dark night of the soul. And it was for me, very much so. And I think the more you can find community, the more you can find, yeah, thank you, honey. The more you can find, the more you can find, you know, community. Oh, what happened? The more you can find community, the more you can find support, the more you can, like, really just allow yourself to be you, you know. Oh, baby. Ready to eat again? He's nursing a lot today. I think that the more you can just allow. Here, don't cry, Avo, don't cry. She's so sensitive. But I really, yes, in a little bit. Mama. Yes, babe, in 1 minute. I think that, you know, the more you can allow yourself to be you, and then especially in this time, the more you can allow yourself to have support, the more you can, real-time nursing here, the more you can allow yourself to step into your authenticity of you and have that support and have those tools, the more you can just let yourself show up. And the more, by the way, you do that, the more is going to happen for you. The more frequency is going to come online, the more you're going to receive. I realize that so much in my own journey, the more I show up, even if it's messy like this, even if it feels like, oh my gosh, I would have never done this before, the more comes online. Because when you show God, source, the universe, when you show that you want this and you show you're here, it shows up for you, no matter how you expected it to look. You know, it really does. And so having the support, having the container, having the tools is only going to bring that much further. It's only going to magnify it for you, you know? So yes, my love. I see. Can I have my phone? Thank you.
You know what? It's tenacity. I'm really thinking as you speak, one thing I see in common with StarSeeds is just a tenacity to keep going and not to, when we perceive failure, whatever that may be, because you know, going from something that is like celebrity styling in Hollywood and then starting out on your own in a whole new realm, right? Where, you know, people are like, what is she doing? Is she lost it? Like da 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 da. And then
is she crazy?
it's the risking that no one will show up, right? We all have this thing, and we've all run workshops, you know, where maybe one person or two person or three people show, and we're like, I thought there'd be loads of people. And it's like, it doesn't actually matter. You need to detach from the outcome and know that you're planting seeds. All of us will always be provided for. Like if we just do the work that we've really been impulsed to do, and that, you know, when you hear a no, it's not yet, it's not no. And it is redefining what failure is. It's really redefining what we perceive as failure that normally would mean, okay, maybe I'm not meant to do it in this lifetime. And going, no, that's not what's going to happen. We're just going to look at how we do this in a way that is going to be received. So
yeah, and is in further alignment, right? And again, us giving these tools of what we're doing is going to allow you to tap into further alignment on a very physical level, where you're going to feel it in your body, you're going to receive it, you know, in your heart resonance, and then all your chakras are going to be open, and you're going to be able to be like, oh, that was what I wanted, that was my gift, and I can make it real. I just had something that came in the way, maybe, or I had something that told me it was limiting belief, and it's like, no, we're gonna bring everything in. We're going to anchor it in. So even better, anyone watching, whether you're going to watch on the replay and jump on and purchase, or you're going to be live with us, come with a wish. Now, I'm sure more will be created as we're on together. More is going to be created through you, because that's going to be the frequency we're bringing in. But come with that wish so you can feel it, and we can really help you make it real.
Yeah, baby. All right. Well, I think you've said that beautifully there. So I'm going to bring this to a close. We will put all the details. You can check out Ali's Instagram, Ali Levine Design. She's already got the link on Linktree. On my RozyGlow Instagram, we've got the link on Linktree as well. We'll put it here. We'll make sure we add it into the text box on YouTube. Show up. It's only a couple of days away. It's a powerful day. What is your wish for you? What is your wish for the collective? Let yourself be inspired, and you're in the right place. We are community. All right. Ali, thank you so much, sweetheart. We're going to say goodbye now. Have a lovely day.
Bye,
Bye, Ali.
Bye.